Hello, today we're going to be talking about the evidence for evolution, which is Chapter 15, Section 3.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the lines of evidence, which is fossil evidence, biogeographical evidence, anatomical evidence, biochemical evidence, and evidence from developmental biology, and we're also going to be providing a few modern examples.
Fossils include remains, traces, and other direct evidence of past life forms. Paleontology is the study of fossils. Transitional fossils represent intermediate evolutionary forms of life in transition from one species to another. Using these fossils, we can trace the development of organisms throughout time and prove the occurrence of evolution. For examples, scientists discovered Tiktaalik, a transitional fossil between fish and amphibians. It had characteristics that are typical to both fish and amphibians, indicating its relationship to both. These characteristics link fish and amphibians and illustrate and support the evolution and development of terrestrial animals from once aquatic animals.
Species found in the same geographic location but in different habitats are more closely related than those found in different geographic regions but the same habitat. Pangaea, the single landmass that existed on Earth 200 million years ago, broke apart. This continental drift explains the similarity of species that are on different continents that are millions of miles away. There are certain species that exist at only one certain geographic location in the world. These animals are called endemic species. Environmental conditions can force a species to adapt, resulting in new characteristics. An example of biogeographical evidence is Charles Darwin's Galapagos finches. The Galapagos Islands are a group of islands, each with its own different finch species. The finches originated from a single finch species that came from the South American mainland. However, each species developed new characteristics on the different islands because of the different environmental conditions. For example, the vampire finch has adapted to drink the blood of other birds when fresh water is scarce.
Anatomical characteristics are another line of evidence that supports evolution. Structures similar between organisms, homologous structures, are often so because they originated from the same source through evolution. For example, the specific design details of vertebrate forelimbs are different, but their basic one-bone, two-bone, little bones, fingers structure is largely the same. As a contrast, analogous structures serve the same function but originated independently. Vestigial structures are structures with no use. Through evolution, these structures remained in organisms but became less prominent as their functions lost their use. For example, whales and snakes evolved from tetrapods and thus have shrunken hind limbs that exist only as vestigial structures. All living organisms have the same basic biochemical molecules DNA, RNA, and ATP. This provides evidence that all organisms originated from one common ancestor, which used all three of these molecules. All organisms have the same triplet nucleic acid code in their DNA, which encodes for the same 20 amino acids that form all proteins. Because they use the same code, different animals can have genes in common with each other. For example, humans have a few of the same genes as some prokaryotes. This universal genetic code allows us to insert the gene of one type of animal into a different type of animal and proves that all organisms are related to some degree. There are also similarities in the sequence of amino acids between different organisms. For example, humans have a cytochrome C protein that is similar to that of yeast. Even though they are extremely far apart on the evolutionary tree, Candida is yeast on the chart. The constant of amino acids allows this relation. Differences in the genes of two organisms increase as the distance in time to their common ancestor grows. For example, humans are more closely related to monkeys than pigs, as indicated by the evolutionary tree.
Developmental biology provides additional evidence for evolution. On the genetic level, the same set of regulatory genes that control the expression of other genes exists among all organisms. For example, the HOX or homeobox genes regulate the body plan of all animals, and differentiations in this gene partially account for the wide range of body structures among animals. The study of embryos has also contributed to proving evolution. During embryonic development, all vertebrates have a postanal tail and pharyngeal pouches. This similarity indicates that they evolved through modification of a single source, which is the only way in which evolution can occur. There are several direct observations of evolutionary change. Insect populations can become rapidly resistant to pesticides such as DDT on account of mutations in their genome, which lead to evolution. In addition, with the constant output of new medications for diseases, viruses can become resistant to drugs and bacteria can become resistant to antibiotics. Because of this, we are always researching new solutions to combat mutations that occur because of evolution.